Hi, I'm Sarah from Heirloom Creations in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and today is our ruler of the month. And we are featuring the cut around ruler, one of my favorites, where it allows you to cut circles and insert them into a background fabric. This quilt here, one of my favorites. I was in an exchange group where we all exchanged blocks, and this is how I put my blocks together. So let me show you how. The cut around ruler comes in a couple different sizes. This particular one will feature cutting 6-inch circles all the way up to 17-inch circles. I have a larger one here that will do 19-inch circles all the way up to 30, and there are some smaller ones as well. Love the cut around ruler because you don't have to do any math. There is a rule, and every time I cut, I actually read the rule to myself. It's printed right here on the ruler. It's called the inch rule. And what you do is cut the hole in the background fabric 1 inch smaller than the circle you want to set into it. So as we go ahead and take our fabric, we want to fold it in quarters. And there's going to be some lines here that we're going to follow for when we are cutting from a folded fabric. There'll be a line right here. It says fold line, so very obvious what to do. If you were just cutting quarter square or quarter circles, there's a line to allow for extra seam allowance, and it is marked clearly here. So take your ruler and fold your fabric in quarters, and I've actually pressed this because the more accurate you're going to be, the easier it is for when you sew this together. This is my background fabric, so I'm going to lay the marks that say fold line along the fold of my fabric. And when you use a rotary cutter, you want to change the angle slightly than what you're probably used to. Most people are used to holding it slightly angled, and if you can change it to more vertical, it will make cutting these a lot easier. There's going to be little teardrops on the way here. So we're going to start off by cutting from our background fabric. We're going to cut a 9-inch circle. So I'll start here, go all the way around, lift out. Now here's something that as you start working with this ruler, which is one thing that I love, is every time you cut a circle out, well, of course you have a circle. So we can start inserting this into other places. Now this is not the size of circle we need to put back in here. We need the next circle to be cut 1 inch bigger, hence the rule we always read. So here, let's go ahead and move to cutting our next piece of fabric, which will be the fabric we'll insert and sew into this. This is my circle fabric, once again folded in quarters, pressed nice and crisp, lining it up on the line that says fold line. Now we cut a 9-inch circle out of the background fabric, so that means when we read the rule, cut the circle 1 inch larger than the opening you made. So here we go. So we cut 9, so this one needs to be 10. Hold the rotary cutter straight up and down and follow the curve. Now we have the circle that we're going to pin into place into our background fabric. Now notice the creases that were made for when we cut, and because they were pressed, they're very prominent. I'm going to go ahead and press again, so I have creases at 8 different points on the fabrics. By pressing a little extra mark into the fabric, I just fold this back and press a little bit. Fold back, nice and even, press. These will help in lining up our two pieces, our circles and our backgrounds, when we pin it together. Okay, let's pin. For pinning, we want to place the circle on the bottom and flip the background fabric onto the circle. We're going to pin at only 8 places, exactly where those pressed marks are. So I'm going to just go around. I'm going to get the quarter marks first, pin those in place. I just can't believe that when you actually cut circles, it's only 1 inch difference from one size that needs to be inserted in the other. That's probably one reason why I love this ruler so much. It's just so simple. And then to only have to pin in 8 places, that is awesome. So here's in between the quarter marks. Here's where the 8th, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So we're just going to pull those 2 marked areas together. And when we actually go to sew, we only work between the pins. Look, this is going to just even out as we go. The 1/4 inch seam allowance will do the work for us, and we will come out even all the way around. Let me show you how we sew it. For sewing, we just want to get a nice accurate 1/4 inch seam, and we're just going to work our way from pin to pin. So as we stitch here, this edge is just going to come even to the edge of the circle. We've got the background fabric on top. That's ideal. You're just going to work your way around. And even where the extra fullness of the fabric is, when you actually get to it, you'll notice that your needle is about a 1/4 inch away from it. So don't be alarmed by some of this fullness. When you flatten it out and stitch, it really goes right where it needs to be. So here we go. We're to pin number 1. Stop with the needle in the down position. That will help hold the fabric, and then that way you can rearrange, nothing moves, and then see how this just wants to come right out to the edge. Just go ahead and start stitching. For pressing, you'll find that the seams naturally want to go towards the circle. So all you need to do, a little best press, and that will help take out the creases that we use for aligning where our pins go, and then just press it flat. Now when you take a closer look at this quilt, you can see what I did. I took the blocks that were given to me by all my friends, found a size that I could use, and then cut them into circles, inserted them into black squares, and then offset them for a very fun finished look. This smaller white quilt is for Project Linus. We had a group of us try out the cut around ruler, and these were the blocks that they all donated, and then we had somebody sew them together and quilt it up. This quilt here, very similar size to the other white one with different size circles, just offset. And then this was a pillow that I did using decorative stitches and embroidery, and this had silk. And what I did was I actually cut a piece of silk fabric and twisted it 45 degrees to get kind of a shimmer when that light hits it, that this middle piece is slightly different.